Daniel asked her where she had last seen her mother, and Lily pointed toward the crowded market across the street. Together, they walked slowly through the rain, calling out her mother's name. Minutes passed. Then half an hour. Daniel felt anxiety creeping into his chest. What if something terrible had happened? What if Lily's mother was hurt, or worse? He took Lily to a nearby cafe to warm her up, bought her a hot chocolate, and asked the staff if they had seen a woman searching for a child. No one had. Just when Daniel was about to call the police, a woman burst into the cafe, her face pale, her eyes red with tears. "Lily," she cried. The girl jumped from her chair and ran into her mother's arms. The woman held her tightly, shaking with relief. Tears streamed down her face as she looked at Daniel. "Thank you," she whispered. "I thought I had lost her forever." Daniel smiled gently. Anyone would have done the same. But he was wrong. Over the next few days, Daniel forgot about the incident. Life went back to its usual rhythm of work, fatigue, and quiet evenings with Ethan. He never expected to see Lily or her mother again. 1 week later, he received a phone call from an unknown number. "Hello, is this Daniel?" a woman's voice asked. "Yes. This is Lily's mother, Sophia. We met last week. You helped my daughter." Daniel hesitated. "Oh, yes. I remember. I wanted to thank you properly," she said. "Could we meet?" "Just for coffee." Daniel almost refused. He wasn't used to meeting new people anymore. His life had become small and predictable. But something in her voice sounded sincere, and after a moment, he agreed. They met at a quiet cafe near the park. Sophia was different from what he had imagined. She was calm, warm, and carried a quiet strength in her eyes. Lily sat beside her, smiling shyly at Daniel. "I don't know how to express my gratitude," Sophia said. "That day, I was distracted for just a minute. When I turned around, Lily was gone. I felt like my heart had stopped." Daniel nodded. "I understand." Sophia looked at him thoughtfully. "Most people walked past her. You didn't." Daniel shrugged slightly. "I'm a father too." That simple sentence changed something between them. They began meeting occasionally, sometimes at the park, sometimes for coffee. Ethan and Lily quickly became friends. Daniel found himself laughing more often, feeling lighter, as if a part of his heart he had buried after his wife's death was slowly coming back to life. Months passed. One evening, Sophia invited Daniel and Ethan to her home for dinner. Her apartment was warm and cozy, filled with books, soft music, and laughter. After dinner, while the children played in Lily's room, Sophia sat with Daniel in the living room. "Daniel," she said quietly, "can I ask you something personal?" He hesitated, then nodded. "Why did you really help Lily that day?" Daniel looked down at his hands. For a moment, he considered giving a simple answer. But something in Sophia's eyes made him speak the truth. "Because I know what it feels like to lose someone," he said softly. "And I didn't want her to feel that pain." Sophia didn't say anything, but her eyes filled with tears. That night, when Daniel walked home, he felt something he hadn't felt in years: hope. But life rarely changes in a straight line. A few weeks later, Daniel lost his job. The warehouse announced layoffs, and his name was on the list. Panic returned to his life. Rent was due. School fees were waiting. The fragile peace he had built began to crack. He didn't tell Sophia at first. Pride held him back. But one evening, she noticed the worry in his eyes. "Something is wrong," she said gently. Daniel sighed. "I lost my job." Sophia listened quietly. She didn't interrupt, didn't judge, didn't offer empty comfort. When he finished, she said something that surprised him. "Come with me tomorrow." The next day, she took him to a modern office building in the center of the city. Daniel felt out of place among the glass walls and elegant corridors. What are we doing here? He asked. Sophia smiled softly. You'll see. Inside one of the offices, a man in a suit greeted them warmly. He introduced himself as the director of a foundation that supported social projects and community programs. Sophia turned to Daniel. I never told you this, she said quietly, but I work with this foundation. We help people who help others. Daniel stared at her in disbelief. That day, Sophia continued, when you helped Lily, you didn't know who I was. You didn't expect anything in return. That's rare. And that's exactly the kind of person we want to support. The director explained that the foundation was launching a program to train and employ people with strong values and leadership potential. They had reviewed Daniel's background, his work history, and his story. We want to offer you a position, the director said. Not as charity, but because we believe you deserve a chance. Daniel felt his throat tighten. For a moment, he couldn't speak. That day, his life began to change, not suddenly, not magically, but steadily. He started working with the foundation, helping families in difficult situations, organizing community projects, and supporting single parents like himself. For the first time, his work felt meaningful. He wasn't just surviving anymore, he was building something. Ethan noticed the change in his father. Daniel smiled more, spoke with more confidence, and came home with stories not of exhaustion, but of purpose. One evening, as Daniel watched Ethan and Lily playing in the park, Sophia stood beside him. Do you ever think about that day? She asked. Daniel nodded slowly. All the time. If you hadn't stopped, Sophia said softly. Daniel looked at the children, then at the sky, where the sun was slowly setting, painting the world in gold. I used to think kindness was useless, he said. I thought it only made life harder. But now I understand something. Sophia looked at him. Sometimes, Daniel continued, one small act of kindness is not just about helping someone else. Sometimes it's about saving your own life. Sophia smiled, and in that moment, Daniel felt something deeper than gratitude. He felt connection, purpose, and a quiet certainty that destiny is often shaped not by grand decisions, but by simple choices made when no one is watching. Years later, Daniel would tell Ethan the story of the rainy evening when everything changed. Not as a tale of luck or miracles, but as a lesson. Always help, he would say. Even when you're tired. Even when you're afraid. Even when you think it doesn't matter. Because you never know which moment will become the turning point of your life. And somewhere in the city, under the same sky, kindness continued to move quietly from one heart to another, changing lives in ways no one could ever predict.